Hello, friends. It's time for Check Please. It is a midweek check-in of our college basketball. I'm Robby Donahoe, joined remotely by Nick Mills and Dusty Mills. We're going to do this as kind of a scene setter going forward for the weekend, an opportunity to just do a quick conversation, 20, 30 minutes. We're not trying to take up your entire day, but it's a good chance to reminisce a little bit, look back at some of the big storylines or the games that you might have missed from the Tuesday, Wednesday, Monday midweek madness, and get you to your weekend. So plenty to enjoy and plenty to look forward to. Nick, I want to start with you. Give me your game that really stood out from this past week.
First of all, I'm glad we're doing this finally, Robby. This was kind of my idea.
It was indeed. All the credit to you.
It's nice to check in every now and then, and check please. We'll take a 15% tip when we can get it. Audience, so we appreciate
15%.
That.
Whoa, that's low.
I didn't want to shoot for 20. Start low.
Okay,
and then,
that's fine. That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
You know, the economy. I don't know if it's good or bad. Just what people say. But
wait, economy or economy?
I'm going.
Dusty has been on one all day today, and it's been driving me crazy. I think I've fired him twice from the pod, so we're getting close to a third.
You know who else had a rough night Tuesday night? The Florida Gators.
Oh boy.
They had a week of Missouri and Texas coming in. Thought it'd be an easy one. Not so much. Missouri started off the game 7 of 11 from three. They scored 83 points against Florida, who had been giving up 53 points per game their past two games, against Tennessee and Arkansas. Missouri now has wins over Kansas and Florida. So, coming into this, bracket matrix is not updated since Tuesday, but going into the game, they're a 10 seed. So you have to think, that might be a couple seed line boosts now for Missouri.
Yeah.
Some guy named Caleb Grill. Hey, hand up, we're a college basketball pod, but I'm not quite familiar with the Missouri personnel to be out there, so I apologize to Corey Mertens, longtime listener, big Missouri fan. Go Chiefs. But Caleb Grill was 6 of 10 from three and 2 of 4 from free throw line, which he pulled a Lee Humphrey, which I always love. 60% from three.
Great comparison, yes.
My guy. And then Florida, so Missouri has Arkansas at home next, which we talk about Arkansas and their fun times right now, and Florida has Texas at home next, so big opportunity for them to get back on track. But again, the main thing from this game, again, Missouri gets the top 6 win on the road. I don't know where Florida's ranked.
Yeah, Missouri's top 5, or Florida's top 5, I should say. Yeah.
So if no one watched this game, this is kind of an issue in college basketball right now, specifically SEC. There is no game flow to some of these games, and there's usually a man named Pat Adams involved who is crazy. Halftime, he will just call and he will walk immediately to the monitor. It's like second nature at this point. I believe me and Jake counted 7. I think we counted 8 monitor trips in this game alone. It took 2 hours and 40 minutes. The game ended at 11:42 Eastern Standard Time. It is a problem. Georgia's had a couple games like this. Texas and Bama was like 80 free throws. So I think the SEC needs to get this figured out. Again, refs are going to miss calls, but the game flow is there's no flow and rhythm in some of these games. It can be very hard to watch.
It feels like they're trying to make it an SEC football experience where they want to go past the 3.5-4 hour threshold that I feel like almost every SEC game did before we stopped doing the stop the clock on every first down. But I agree. It's been insane. Like the Mississippi State Auburn game went 2 hours and 30 minutes. What are we doing here, people? Like this, we want to get these games done in a tight 2 hours. Or maybe 2 hours 5 minutes, not 2 hours 30. Come on.
If it happens every now and then, so be it. But it feels like it happens.
It's happening a lot.
SEC games a week that you're like, oh, this game's still going.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I hate it so much.
I agree. Dusty, what's your game that you want to recap from the last 3 days?
I have 3 actually.
Oh,
so how about your Purdue Boilermakers?
Whoa!
A great win over Washington on the road, which, we've talked about just the Big Ten and the Pac-12 having this, seamless USC, UCLA, Washington flying to the East Coast and vice versa.
Right.
Washington get a win by 11. I think it's pretty impressive. Michigan State has now won, 10 straight?
Yep, 10 straight wins for Michigan State. I don't think they've beaten a team in the top 25, though, in there.
I agree. But still, though, the way the games are supposed to win.
Agreed.
And the one I love is we've talked about the Mountain West, UNLV.
Rebels, baby! What a win last night.
Beating Utah State that I love so much. 3-point win last night. I'm just excited about them. I'm excited to start putting on CBS Sports Network every single night and watching these games.
Well, did you see UNLV got orgy this week too?
They got, you mean Alex Orgy? Not
Yes, sorry,
Orgy.
Alex Orgy.
Okay, let's be more specific as to what we got.
Say Vegas orgy and not go into a.
Yeah, I didn't mean to do that at all, guys.
You
Sorry.
absolutely did not. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I will say I still do like Utah State a lot, even with the loss at Vegas.
I mean, they're 16-2.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a good ass team, but for UNLV to get a win like that, I mean, they were a team last year that was rooting for to make the tournament and just make a run, and so I mean, they're fun to watch, and they have what's his name? Is it Jaden Hill?
Sounds right. Yeah.
Javon Hill.
Yeah, let's go with that.
We'll figure it out.
It's a midweek pod, people. We're not doing our homework here. Come on.
I got right, Jalen Hill. They had 15 rebounds last night, 15 points. Oh, sorry, 8 rebounds, 15 points. They're just fun to watch.
Here's the question I want to pose to the pod then before I get to my game. The Mountain West looks like it's probably going to get at least 3 teams into the tournament. Probably, maybe 4. Do they get more teams in than wins in the NCAA tournament this year?
Oh, geez. I mean, probably not.
Well, history tells us no. They usually have like San Diego State go off for a couple wins.
That's why San Diego State's usually the team that does it for them. So I think last year the Mountain West got 3 wins in the tournament.
2 from San Diego State.
And then Utah State won their first round game. Yeah. So there was the 3 wins.
Right here on January 16th, I'm going to say they get 5 teams in and win 3 games.
Whoa. Okay, 5 teams. So Utah State, New Mexico, Boise State, San Diego State. You think UNLV gets in then as the 5th?
Yeah, you need a bid stealer in there.
Yeah, or Colorado State maybe? Nevada's been pretty decent too. Nevada's been kind of falling off a little bit though too.
San Jose State beat someone last night.
San Jose State, yeah, San Jose State beat New Mexico. Mountain West feels like it's just eating itself up, and it feels like it does this every single year.
Yeah, it does.
So
shout out to Hagen Hall boys.
Hagen Hall boys, official Mountain West correspondent of the D1 and Done pod. All right,
Brooklyn Hicks off the bench last night, 9 points.
Wow, Brooklyn Hicks. Yeah,
Hicks and Hill, baby.
All right. I want us to kind of do this all together as a pod. And this is not me speaking as a Purdue fan. This is me speaking as a native Hoosier. What in the actual hell was that IU team on Tuesday night? Like, literally, what was that?
So, I'll start from my experience. I went to the Patriots game Tuesday night, so I had the Cats game on my phone. And we had timeout of the game. I said, I'll check the IU score. I thought my phone's messed up. 60 points in the first half?
And what was funny is Illinois was shooting 50% from the field. It's not like they were like unconscious from the field. They were shooting a moderate percentage, and they got 60 first half points. 6-0. There were teams in the past that couldn't even score 60 at Assembly Hall. And Illinois is doing it in one half. I was just absolutely dumbfounded at how piss poor that effort was from IU on Tuesday night. And then, again, I take joy in the fact that IU looks miserable right now? Absolutely. But as someone who is a Big Ten basketball lover through and through and still can appreciate what the old guard did to get us to this point, that was one of the most despicable displays of effort and focus from a college basketball team that I have ever seen. Ever.
In Robby, this kind of feels like this has been a trend, right? I mentioned last show, Osterman had that stat, 12 to 31 losses in Big Ten or Woodson were by 15 plus. They gave up against Louisville, gave up against Iowa.
Yes.
And this feels like this is finally like the rock bottom crossroads moment now, right? Like,
yeah.
Where do they go? Because again, I think the image of the game, right? They're down 30 with 2 minutes to play. And for the first time all game, they show any sort of like disdain or like heart when they shove. I don't remember what Illinois player was at the end. It was Ballo, Miles Rice.
Yeah, I can't remember who. I think it was a Visic was the one that he shoved. Was Ballo? Yeah, it was a Visic. Yeah, Ballo came in, gives him a shove. I was like, that's the most fight they've shown the entire game. Like there was one possession, and I think Matt Norlander of CBS Sports tweeted it as well, where Umar Ballo literally stood on the perimeter watching the play happen for like 15 seconds. Like it is absolutely outrageous how poor this IU team is. They are the worst 13-5 team in the history of college basketball. Like, I don't – and also to say – Illinois won the game 94-69, so we should give more credit to Illinois. But the bigger story is the fact is, I think, for me personally, Mike Woodson's not coming back next year. But IU may have just shot itself in the foot for the future because they should have made the move this past offseason because you had more opportunities to land a big name, like a Dusty May. Now, is Dusty May going to come back to IU? I mean, he had Louisville, he had Michigan. Maybe he does go back to IU. I don't know. But you had many more, I guess, bullets in the chamber to hit on someone that was going to be a good coach. And now you don't really have great options out there going into this upcoming season if you do decide to pull the trigger, which I think they will. But I could not get over the fact that they looked woefully unprepared. They looked like they didn't care. It should never happen that IU is down by 30 points to any team. It could be a freaking NBA team. They should never be down by 30 points to any opponent ever at Assembly Hall. And that's, I mean, people calling IU a blue blood, no. They are no longer a blue blood. This is a team that continues to live in the past, and it's the reason why that they are not winning in the present and the future, because they're too focused on what they won and what they did 20, 30 years, 40 years ago, and they aren't relevant anymore. They just are not. And the problem is you have too many hands in the cookie jar on this IU team. You have too many people trying to call the shots. And I equate it and compare it to Michigan football, because Michigan football was very similar in the same way, where you had a lot of people, a lot of hands in the cookie jar, trying to make decisions on players to bring in, recruits, guys that should change the program. You bring in a Jim Harbaugh that says, I don't give one F, I'm going to do it my way, and they go and win a national championship. IU needs to go find its Jim Harbaugh to change and save its program, because right now...
Dan Dockage.
Maybe it is Dan Dockage. I don't, like... Let's get weird here, but at the same time, I can't believe I'm saying this as a Purdue fan, but if I was an IU fan, I would be absolutely pissed off after watching that game on Tuesday night. And no, this team is not making it back anytime soon. They might not even make the tournament this year. They probably won't. Their numbers are terrible. They have really no good quality wins.
Their next 7, like I said, no quality wins. Their next 7 games, according to Kim Palm, they're underdogs in. So they're going to have to really turn around. So, and just 2 more things on this real quick. For people who didn't see, in the middle of the first half, the student section did chant
Fire Woodson. I did hear that, yep.
So that's the big thing. I believe that's 1-3 against Illinois at home now in the last 4.
Goodness.
And Dusty, we haven't heard you yet. What are your thoughts on just IU and this whole thing?
Well, Maine beat NJIT today.
Who did?
Maine.
Go Black Bears.
Yeah. I'm dead serious though. I don't.
Can they turn this thing around?
Yeah, they can. They can. They have the talent to do it. For someone who, I guess I'm always in the middle. We talked about this, about kind of being in the middle of IU basketball, where I got my master's from there, so I was down there. Remember, I was there the year that they had Oladipo and Zeller and all those guys were the best team in the country, and for some reason couldn't beat the frickin' Syracuse zone. So I don't really dislike IU basketball, but they just
they've become it's pathetic. It is. They've become unlikable because they're so arrogant. They don't.
Yeah, they think they're better than, like you said. They think they're better than they are, which is kind of the hardest part, to root for them. And I try to root for them because all my friends are big IU friends or IU fans, and my mother is, my mom's
not mom.
But yeah, so I root for them, or I cheer for. I pull for them. How's that?
Yeah, that's better.
A soft spot, if you will.
Yeah, soft spot.
Mm-hmm.
They're not good.
No.
And this has been a long time now. So Archie didn't make the tournament at all. Granted, they both made in 2020. And Woodson's made it twice. It was a first 4 appearance in that one with Trey Jackson Davis. Like, we're going like a decade now of.
Well, and think about it. So it's
mediocrity.
When I was at school there, that's 12 years ago.
Sheesh. Now it's the last time they were probably serious national championship contenders.
I mean, so they made one Final Four in 2002 and hadn't been to one since '87, I believe. Before that, that's the last time they won a national championship. Say that again, Dusty.
probably not been to the Elite Eight since then.
Yeah, haven't been to the Elite Eight since 02.
16 and 16.
Yeah, because that was a Sweet 16. Yeah, but I think
then fired clean the next year.
But then they played a Sweet 16 in, was it 14 when they played Kentucky in that Sweet 16 game?
Well,
yeah. Yeah, 2012.
2012, that's right. Yeah, because that was the national championship year. So, I mean, look, if you're an IU fan listening to this is nothing new. You're probably just used to this by this point, that you're just frustrated and you're tired of seeing this same song and dance. I think the old heads of IU basketball continue to hold this program back. It's the constant complaining and whining and winning the recruits. Like, IU is the champion of May and June. And that's it. And that's what they want. And I think it's such, like, they've got to change the mindset. You have to get a new mindset. The players that you used to win with, those players are now at Purdue. And they're kicking your ass. So, like, if you don't want to change it, if you want to keep getting the Miles Rices and Bryson Tuckers and Cannon Carlisles, go right ahead. That's perfectly fine. But enjoy mediocrity, because you're not going to win any more than 20 games, because you have entitled mercenaries that only want to play when they want to show up. And that is a dangerous combination, and it's what you're seeing play out right now with this program and this team.
Final note, IU, they're 57th at KenPom. For reference, UC Irvine's 56th.
I mean, UC Irvine was looking at Mississippi State on Dusty's poll. They're looking farther back at where IU is.
24th in my rankings.
I know I went on a big rant about that, and again, if you're an IU fan, you're listening to this is nothing new, and you're probably tired of this.
I think they're every IU fan I've talked to like this. They're
done.
Beyond the point.
Yeah, they're done. And speaking as a Purdue fan, it is kind of shocking that I'm trying to stick up for the IU fan, and I want I'm kind of like Dusty. I'm not rooting for IU. I want them to do well because it makes the rivalry great. I think the media narrative of, well, Blue Bloods have to be great in college basketball, it makes everything better. No, screw that. That's nonsense. That's stupid. And also, IU's not a Blue Blood anymore. I'm sorry.
Old blood.
They're an old blood. They're not relevant. And IU's a football school. We've been saying it. IU's a football school now. Sorry. Like, Kurt Signetti was the kind of guy, if you can get a kind of Kurt Signetti kind of coach to be on the basketball team, man, that would change kind of everything for what IU is doing. But you missed it last year, and you waited a year too late, and now you're kind of dealing with the consequences. So,
off and Blue Bloods, Coppin State beat Chenet 88-62 today.
They beat who?
Chenet.
So I know a cute girl named Shanae. Shout out to her.
Why don't you date her?
Boyfriend of 6 years, I believe. He should get on one knee, by the way, if he's listening.
I was about to say, if they're not married, free game.
You can still score if there's a goalie. That is true.
All right. There's our games that stood out from the past 3 days. I want to go to the performances that stand out from the days. And I actually want to start because last night, how about Forest Brewers, Iowa State Cyclones, ladies and gentlemen. The Clones, baby. That was a beatdown on Kansas. 74-57. KJ Adams may or may not have a significant shoulder injury. We don't know for sure. But the bigger story is, so as much as Keyshawn Gilbert has been great this year and Taman Lipsey has had a good season as well, they don't have Momcilovic. That's an injury that they're going to have to kind of work through. It's a hand injury. Hopefully he's going to be able to bounce back in a couple weeks. We'll see. Curtis Jones is freaking awesome. That dude is a baller. He put up 25 points, 6 rebounds, 5 of 6 from 3. Iowa State was 8 for 13 from behind the arc. They beat Kansas by 17. Curtis Jones, my player of the week so far. He was freaking awesome. You can even throw Deshaun Jackson in there as well, who was awesome off the bench for the Cyclones, but Iowa State needs Momcilovic to try to win a national championship. Without him, I don't think they can do it. But they are so good defensively, and they're so tough and so physical, and they finally have some offense to work around this year. I remember at the start of the year, I was like, I'm tired of this Iowa State team.
Oh, yeah, that was a big talking point.
That was a big talking point. I'm back on board because they have an offense to work through this year. And I think the bigger story as well is Kansas is just not that good. I'm just going to be honest. They're not.
Which is weird to say.
It is. And they may be,
last year, too, they had a disappointing issue.
Yeah, and they're so talented. Like AJ Storr, we said it on the pod on Monday. He's been a massive disappointment. DeJuan Harris has just been okay. Zeke Mayo has been their best player. You can't have your best player be Zeke Mayo on this team. It's not going to work. Hunter Dickinson played a horrible game against Iowa State. Some people have been trying to kind of throw him into the Player of the Year talk, which is asinine. I know he's been averaging a double-double. Don't put him in there. It doesn't matter. But I'm shocked at how poor Kansas played at Iowa State, and more impressed with how Curtis Jones has kind of been leading the way when Keyshawn Gilbert and Tamin Lipsey gets all the credit.
Agreed. Iowa State, they took care of business that whole game. Yeah. Curtis Jones, shout the Mac, Buffalo transfer.
Yeah, baby. We love the Mac on here. Dusty, your standout performance from the past few days?
I'm going to go with Ryan Conwell Xavier.
Ooh.
So I had 34 points in a win against Villanova, which I was pretty high on Villanova, and they let me down this week.
Word?
I mean, most of it was he was 12-14 from the line. But 6-10 from 3. So he's someone who I did not know of until about 2 weeks ago. But Ryan Conwell wears number 7 at Xavier, but keep an eye on him.
Pike kid, by the way. Graduated from Pike, played at South Florida, and now at Xavier, yep.
Yeah. Sorry, let me repeat that. Knew who he was, did not know that he was balling out at Xavier.
There you go. That's the best way to put it. So, yeah, he's a dead-eye shooter, man. He is a great shooter. Lefty, too, just a smooth stroke. Nick, who's your standout player from the past few days?
So the only other kind of big game we've missed includes my guy. Ole Miss upset Alabama on the road, 74-64.
Big win.
So, get my notes in front of me. Yeah, Ole Miss is now 4-0 in the SEC, just them in Auburn at this point.
You better bring up the guy that you need to.
Oh, you know it is. Before I say the guy's name, I just want this stat from the game. Bama had more turnovers than made field goals in this game. That was the decider.
Oh, my gosh, they did.
21 turnovers to 20 made field goals in this game.
I know that. Wow.
Holy crap.
Shout out Chris Beard, on the court, Chris Beard, for his efforts right now. But the guy you have to shout is Malik Dia. If you don't know the name, Robby just said it for you out loud. He was awesome this game. 23 points, 19 rebounds. Monster. Enforcer down low, averaging 21 points, 11 rebounds in his last 3 games. Him and Ole Miss they're rolling right now. They go at our guy Brian Haydas, Mississippi State. Right, I think it's in Mississippi State.
Yep, it's at the hump. Yep,
at the hump. Get your hump on. Yeah, but Malik Dia, 23 points, 19 rebounds. The Rebels are rebelling.
Big win. I mean, gosh, that might have been the most impressive win of the past month or so. Alabama was averaging 90 a game at home, and they only scored 64. That was impressive. And Ole Miss has some Indiana flavor on their team. Lawrence Central grad, Dre Davis on the team. Oh. So you got a little bit of Indiana flavor.
I didn't know he's from LC.
Yep, went to LC.
Robby, before you give your team, can I tell someone to get the hell out of here?
Oh, no.
Yeah, get the hell out of here, Mississippi State.
You can't say
back-to-back losses. All this crap got talked to me.
Oh, stop it!
Hell yeah, Crab! Hell yeah!
Yeah, look, cowbell my ass. Here, I'm gonna shake this thing. Yeah, get out here, Mississippi State.
I will take up the cowbell for the Bulldogs.
Watch it at home. Biggest home game probably in 10 years. Can't win that game. Can't win this week. Mississippi State, get the hell out of here.
What's going to happen when they beat? No, what's
and losing the first round?
What's going to happen when they beat Ole Miss on Saturday?
They're not going to.
Yes, they are.
Do you want me to put lock of the week?
You already won your double lock, so it's like
Ole Miss money line right now.
All right, I'll give you another lock. You can go 2-1 this week. It's fine.
Bulldogs big on Saturday.
Thank you.
No chance. Get out there, Mississippi State.
I love it, Crab. Dude, you deserve this. You got a lot of flack, and they've not been up so far.
Nothing since then.
State's going to bounce back on Saturday. Don't you worry. I mean, that was going to be my game to watch, but I don't really need to say anything.
Here's your preview.
Watch some later.
Well, let's see. What time is the game at? It's a 6 p.m. game. Do we need to get together and watch the game?
Possibly.
Okay.
Remember, I'm on assignment. You guys are sending me a Lexington Saturday.
Correct. You are on assignment. Mm-hmm. By the way, you're not getting any per diem. This is all on your own dime.
Yeah, can I at least get your credit card or something?
No, definitely not. I don't trust you at all with my credit card.
Can I tell I'm not gonna name the high school, but can I tell your employer, hey, this is part of a educational.
Oh, it's
trip.
a work trip.
Work trip.
Our buddy slow until these Mississippi State people start paying us a little more money.
Oh gosh, no, no, we're not going to do that. So let's pick out a game that we're going to watch. We're excited about then for these next few days. So Saturday's a really loaded slate. Excuse me. A lot of really good games. That Houston UCF game is going to be tricky. Houston's been blowing people out the last 3-4 weeks, but it feels like everything's been at home. So now you get on the road at Orlando against a UCF team that really has nothing to lose. That would be one I might want to keep an eye on. But I mean, the one that I'm really excited to watch. I'm curious how Purdue's going to do at Oregon. I'm so excited to see what the Boilermakers are going to do. I just want to see them show up, play hard, and play physical because Oregon is a physical team. Purdue has shown they can play physical. They did it against Washington last night, which, by the way, I fell asleep at 9:30, didn't watch 1 minute, and they ended up winning. So obviously, me watching it's not superstitious enough to force them from losing. So I'm really excited to see how they do against Jackson Shellstad and Nate Biddle inside. That's going to be a really fun matchup to watch. Shellstad's been dominating lately. He's been on target. Feels like a completely different player lately. So really eager to see what Purdue's going to do. So that's probably my game to watch is Purdue-Oregon. But keep an eye on Houston-UCF. That's 12 p.m. tip-off time on the CBS Sports Network. So those are my two games to keep an eye on. Nick, what's your game to watch?
I have two as well. One quick, obviously, Alabama at Kentucky. Bama coming off not a bad loss, but a tough loss at home, obviously. In Kentucky, we've not only mentioned them, got the big win versus A&M, granted with no Wade Taylor, but it was the first game they really won ugly, if that makes sense. Like it was not they play the best defense, and I'm glad these last two wins for Kentucky over Mississippi State and A&M because Kentucky was in a weird spot, right? They had beaten really good teams, but had kind of lost to the bean bias kind of teams, right?
Sure.
So it's kind of I feel much better about them after these past two games. But the game I'm really intrigued by is Illinois at Michigan State on Sunday.
Yeah.
Because, again, we've kind of talked about, okay, who's the Big Ten favorite? And Michigan State are both undefeated, kind of separating themselves a little bit. But at one point, I thought it was Illinois, so Illinois at Michigan State. And, yeah, I'm very, very intrigued for that game. Like I think Dusty said earlier, Michigan State's won 10 in a row. So, yeah, that's probably the game, especially for all divisional round games on Sunday, have that game to look forward to. I
think Michigan State's fool's gold. I think they've been beaten up on a lot of just okay teams, and they've looked pretty decent doing it. I think they're a really solid team. I don't know if they're in that top tier of the Big Ten. So I'm going to be very curious how they're going to play coming up in that game because I don't fully believe in them right now. So I agree, Nick. That's going to be a great game coming up on Sunday. Dusty, your game to watch?
I have two, actually. Saturday night, some fun. One is late at night, 9 o'clock. Santa Clara at Gonzaga.
Ooh,
like that one.
Yeah.
And also at 8 o'clock, even later, for those of you that want to have a little bourbon and watch something.
Drink responsibly.
Yeah, it's being blurry for me at that point. I will probably not be watching.
At San Francisco.
Oregon State at San Francisco?
Correct.
Ooh, what time's that game?
10 o'clock Eastern. So,
oh, wow.
You West Coast people enjoy it, but 10 o'clock. So those are the two that I like find those like Saturday night late night games, and those are the two I'm looking at.
St. Mary's plays at Pepperdine. That's a 10 p.m. game as well. Tips off at the same time.
And as it's on the same day, Cal State Bakersfield at Hawaii, 11:59.
Oh, I love how they got it in before midnight. Great. Yeah, thanks.
They made sure it's on Saturday night.
That's it. There you go. All right, so there is your check, please. Catching you up on a great midweek madness of college hoops. We will be back once again on Monday for the normal presentation of the D1 and Done pod. So make sure you give us a follow on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, D1 and Done pod. You can find us anywhere that you listen to podcasts. Guys, anything else that you want to leave us as we wrap things up?
Calipari, buddy. Ugh. They blew a double-digit lead at LSU.
T's and P's, Calipari. T's and P's.
Calipari's not looking good, and the Rockets aren't looking good at the Kings tonight if you get bored.
Well, hopefully the Pacers will look good against the Pistons.
And Pacers as well. So,
and shout out Bonnie Blue.
What's that?
She's a lot like Lily Phillips. I'll just say that.
Oh gosh,
we have a new one. Yeah, I'm not sure what's happening right now, but Shout out. Keep the love going, I guess.
Okay,
Keep
but
spreading love.
before we get canceled, there you go. There's your midweek madness. Your check, please. We'll wrap it up there.
Oh,
Thanks.
One more before we go.
Sure.
Super Bowl predictions.
Oh, You mean national championship predictions Monday night or Super Bowl?
Well, if you're gonna do I was gonna say, yeah. I'll see if we can do Natty on Monday, or we can do them now too.
I mean, I'm fine with either. So okay, Super Bowl. Chiefs, Lions.
I said before the playoffs, I go Bills over Rams.
Oh my gosh! Wow, I like that. I'm chalk. Chiefs, Lions. Dusty
Ravens.
Against
The Dolphins.
Just pick a. There's 4 of them, Chris.
pick an NFC team.
Commanders.
Ravens over. I don't know. I don't follow the NFL that close.
Yeah, Commanders.
The DMV Bowl.
Okay. No, I'm going to change it then. Fine, and just to get us canceled, Redskins over Ravens.
Oh boy.
No, the football team actually.
Ohio in national championship game. Ohio State by 1 million.
Retweet.
Notre Dame.
I hate you. All right.
I'm with you. I'm with you, Rob.
Thank you, Nick. That'll do it. We'll see you next time on the D1 and Done pod. Check, please.
Check, please.
Please.